So hello guys, and welcome to another discussion video, and once again I will be talking about the Thousand Year Door remake. That sounds so surreal to say, because I've been predicting that for years, or hoping for that for years. Not even really like a prediction, but just like a wish for something that I've wanted. But this time, I'm joined by a few people who really like Paper Mario, so Fawful the Great, SuperMarioT, and Anton Retro will be joining me here. So we're going to be discussing the Thousand Year Door remake here, with like the significance of it, like how this could actually be happening, like some things that we've noticed about it, and then also some things that we'd like to see. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's so surreal that this is actually happening now, like especially with the current state of the Paper Mario series, like ever since Sticker Star. This seemed like something that would never happen, really.
Yeah.
Don't ever wake me up from this dream. I am having the time of my life. I want to be asleep forever.
I almost choked to death reacting to that.
Yeah.
I honestly just couldn't believe it. I was just like, I'm still alive, right? Like, this is not some weird dream or something. It was so strange.
When I
I
first
didn't die, right?
I thought I died.
when I first saw that book on like the opening for that, I had to do a double take. Just like, is this actually the thing that I've been dreaming about actually showing up on a Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, like ironically, before they showed the last game, I was like, imagine if it's Thousand Year Door. Imagine if I just see the book at the beginning, because that's what I knew that they were gonna start with, that if they would reveal it, right? And then it happened, and I was like, wait, no.
Yeah.
It's ironic because in the last direct, when they revealed the Peach game, it started with a curtain.
Yeah.
Part of my brain
Yeah.
was like, TTYD? No, they just revealed Super Mario RPG. There's no way there's a TTYD remake, but there's a TTYD remake. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was my reaction as well when I saw those curtains, because I was like, wait, is it Thousand Year Door? And then it just wasn't.
Yeah. And
I guarantee you there's like a couple games that have like a curtain opening as their opener to reveal a game. Like, I don't think it was, oh my god.
And
if
you
they
know,
did a curtain, I would have been like, nah.
one funny thing that happened, I think this was like the June Direct, when they announced like the Metal Gear collection thing, like a little after that, when it played that one sound effect, I thought it was like the enemy sound effect, when like because there's like a similar sound effect to the sound effect from like Metal Gear Solid, but for some reason my Paper Mario brain automatically registered that as like Thousand Year Door, and like with the enemy being surprised or something. So I don't like, for some reason I freaked out for like a half second before I realized what it was. But yeah, but like every direct, I've just been anticipating something like this. And the funny thing is, I wasn't even expecting this to be a full remake. I was expecting it to be just like a simple remaster or port, something similar to like either Metroid Prime Remastered or Pikmin 1 and 2. I was not expecting them to go in the route of like a full remake, like with what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be like an HD version that looks like the Dolphin HD texture pack, except slightly worse because Nintendo. Like, that's what I expected.
Yeah.
But we got a whole remake, and it looks like it's even using the sprites, the uncompressed, like they pulled them out of their vault before they were compressed, and they used that. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to get access to all those graphics. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Man, it's so faithful.
Yeah, the fact that they are actually using those older designs is like very surprising to me. Like, I was thinking in the chance that they would do a remake of Thousand Year Door, I was fully expecting them to go like use the modern designs for the enemies and everything.
The white outlines and everything.
Like, even if they kept most of the original character designs, like even with like the Toads and the Goombas and things, I was fully expecting them to go with like the modern, like kind of General Mario inspired modern Paper Mario designs. So I'm really glad that they kind of returned to the original designs with this remake.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Just the situation Paper Mario was in, like, I think just like we would have taken a remaster, but a remaster also would have been like the easiest and safest solution for them to do, even with like everything they did with like the character restriction thing. So just
And
the
not
fact that like
only-
it's sorry.
And not only did they do a remake, but they closed the direct with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've come a long way since Color Splash, where they just like dropped the game during the middle of the direct, like with like
And
just
that's like the
with-
one direct I missed too. That's like the one direct I just didn't see the announcement and didn't watch live.
And it's just like it seems like in so many ways we've come so far, like either between like Sticker Star and the whole situation with that, or the fact here's like a very random one, but the fact during the Nintendo Treehouse for Origami King, they said like the interconnected world for that game, and not having a world map was a new thing for the Paper Mario series. Just completely not like just not acknowledging the older games at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And then
Yeah,
also,
like, they really want to acknowledge those too much.
and then another thing, the scraps, the very small references in the newer games, like they barely ever referenced the older Paper Mario games in modern Paper Mario, aside from a few cameos or like things in the dialogue. It really seemed like they just weren't acknowledging like any game like before Sticker Star.
Like, but the only references that are actually the only time they actually like explicitly referenced a character that was original to the older games was those bits of trash referencing Goombella and Parakarry and Sticker Star. And I still think that just got snuck in. Like that was not caught. I definitely feel like that couldn't have been approved, knowing how Sticker Star is otherwise. Like,
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
The fact that it was in the trash bin or area, the trash area too, was just
yeah.
so. Yeah, that was
I guess it's because both of the games, like the first three and then the three after that, they're in different sort of canons, right? So maybe they just didn't really
That's how I
want
see
to. Yeah, because also, like, when you look at it, right, certain enemies and Mario stuff is treated in a very different way. Whereas, in Thousand Year Door, the characters, like even the Goombas and stuff, they're not all treated as Bowser's minions, where in the newer games, they're just treated as, oh, they're the enemies, all the Koopas and stuff. They don't have their own towns or anything.
yeah. Origami King, they only experimented with that, like the older thing with certain enemies being like separate from Bowser's minions. They only like experimented with that a little bit, like with Ninjas being, and also a few of the enemies being like NPCs at Shogun Studios.
Yeah, Shogun Studio, that's probably the only
Yeah.
place where you actually see like characters that are not related to Bowser's stuff, right? Because they wear like sort of interesting, unique clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hate how they had to make it a point to say that the mustache was fake. Like, they could have just not said that and let us live with the illusion that it's a Koopa with a mustache.
Yeah, and then also
Yeah.
the fact that like almost all of the clothing for either the Toads or any of the other like species in the game, they were like mostly for their job. Like, for example, in Shangri Spa, like the Toads there, like they kind of looked like angels there, but the wings were basically fake. They you could see on the back of them. And then also like Shogun Studios, again, they were just wearing it for their job. Almost all of the Toads or any of the other like characters that had like certain outfits, it was mostly for their role or job or anything
Yeah,
like
and-
that.
I
Yeah, and the
definitely
names
think,
too.
Like, the most interesting Toad in terms of appearance was Captain Toad, I think.
Yeah.
And even he really could have used a mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like all the characters, also the names, right? They're just like, I'm Goomba, I'm Bob-omb, I'm, Captain, or it's Captain T.O., who's still Toad. Like, they couldn't give him a more interesting name.
Well, that was really the
Yeah.
only Toad that had a remotely interesting name.
Exactly.
Everything else was adjective Toad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of the reasons why it was so surprising seeing like a Thousand Year Door remake, like kind of almost embracing its new kind of style and everything, because honestly, like with the Thousand Year Door remake, it's almost kind of presenting itself like a new game, kind of how a lot of remakes do. So it almost
title as well
because it
doesn't have like HD or refolded in it, right? So a
Yeah.
lot of people would just see, oh,
they
what's
seem to-
this new game?
They seem to have done that a lot. They did it with Super Mario RPG. In fact, I think they removed the subtitle from Super
Yeah.
Mario RPG.
yeah.
But that was also because it was just called Super Mario RPG in Japan. Legend of the Seven Stars was an overseas subtitle.
Yeah, and I think another thing with the Legend of the Seven Stars thing, I know that's a bit
It's
off.
a long title.
I know that's a bit off topic, but there's so many other Mario RPGs now that have like 7 stars that you need to collect, including Thousand Year Door. So I feel like that would have been confusing. That might have been one of the reasons why they cut that from the title in North America, because of the Thousand Year Door remake also happening. So it would just be confusing if there were like multiple Mario RPGs where you basically have a similar objective and everything, but they have like one has the Legend of the Seven Stars title. But yeah, like with I think that kind of made sense. But with the Thousand Year Door remake, it's almost presenting itself like it's the next big Paper Mario game, even though it's a remake. Is it's seemingly being developed by the modern Paper Mario devs. Because it did say Intelligent Systems on like the Nintendo UK website, and then I think a couple other places as well. So this
American website.
Yeah, this is what they have been working on since Origami King. And
Yeah, and also they've done 2 WarioWare games and also
Fire
Fire
Emblem.
Emblem Engage, so
Yeah.
they've been very busy.
But yeah, I think this is like the Paper Mario team specifically, since Intelligent Systems, I think they do have a few like different teams within that company that work on different projects like Fire Emblem, WarioWare, and then Paper Mario. So I think this is like their next project since Origami King. And since they're putting so much resources and dedication into this remake, it just goes to show how much they actually care now about the older Paper Mario games. And along with that, it almost seems like they're kind of adding on to the continuity with like Paper Mario 64, since they added like the photo from Super Paper Mario in
Oh my God.
the Mario Bros. House.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
new.
And
Maybe
then-
we'll get the cameo appearances that were cut from the game.
Yeah, and then another thing I noticed with the Mario Bros. House design, it actually specifically uses the design from Paper Mario 64 and has like the kind of area in the back, which is
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has like a combination of that and the TTYD, because the front of the house, it looks more like the TTYD version, but the back section wasn't there in the TTYD version. So like I think they kind of took the best design elements of both.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like they could have gone like, oh no, we're gonna make it really basic or we're gonna change it completely, but it's so cool that they're trying to make it like, fit in with that game too, right? And a lot of people have played it since it's on NSO now, so it makes sense to sort of continue that, right? And I guess 2021, right? They added Paper Mario 64.
yeah.
So
Yep. And like during that part where they showed the house too, they had that remix of the title theme from Paper Mario 64.
that caught me off guard for a
Yeah.
little bit. I was like, wait, hey,
Like-
why
I was
is
like-
that there?
Yeah, I was confused.
Yeah.
Wait, is this both? Is this a remake of both? That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I think it's cool that they're kind of adding on to the continuity, because, like, on top of the fact that it was so unlikely that they would do a full remake it, like, faithfully to the original style, and then also even add on to the whole continuity of the game, especially going off of the fact that the modern games barely ever referenced, like, the classic Paper Mario games. It just seemed so unlikely and just so, like, it's just great in general that they're finally, like, kind of embracing, like, the series roots and actually kind of going back to that more that older style that actually had more continuity between the games.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, another thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit was, like, the kind of how the models are and the style is in general. because I think it looks amazing, and it's really the best possible outcome that we've gotten in everything.
Absolutely.
Because I was fully expecting them to go with like the white outlines, kind of going with that style. Well, the modern Paper Mario enemy designs, but it's just great.
Bright colored gradients and smooth animations. How I've missed you.
Yes. Oh my god.
I know the white outlines is kind of like to a lot of people see it as a very like nitpicky like argument and everything, but honestly, the designs that they're using here look so much better than they did in the modern Paper Mario games, like even with the lighting, because a lot of people said that with like the gradients and different things like that, that wouldn't look as good with lighting, and that's why they had the flat colors in Color Splash and Origami King. But honestly, I think these models, like with the design with like the gradients and the shading, looks so much better with this lighting. It like
Because they already have like outlines. There's really no need for them to put the white ones. Maybe because they just wanted to make the game look better than it actually was. I don't know, because they look so good here.
Because the white outlines used to be just a promotional thing. Like in the Wii menu for Super Paper Mario, it has the white outlines, but in the actual game, it doesn't. Like, I always felt like the white outlines were better as just kind of promo art or like a little motion graphic to show to kind of tease the game or something, but not like the actual style in game.
It just feels like very natural looking. Just to not have like, yeah, I know it sounds a little nitpicky, but like you get such a natural sense of like these are actual characters like experiencing these actual things. Because I feel like with the white outline, you kind of get the sense that like they're all fabricated, like
It's
something
artificial.
like exactly like something else just completely constructed them, and it's not
And
like
I
the
guess
actual Mario
like-
and them.
Yeah, but it's also like the silhouette, right? There's points in the Thousand Year Door where Mario is just it was like a silhouette of Mario, right? So it makes sense for them to remove that as well, because or else it would kind of look a bit strange, right? Because it look a bit with the outline.
Although I do have a slight nitpick with the silhouette version of Mario, because we do briefly see it in the trailer.
Yeah.
I think that the edges should have also been purple. I don't think we should have been able to like see the layers when he's just completely purple. I don't know, it just looks weird to me.
I do like the new grade. I think they kind of added a gradient.
looks
Yeah.
amazing. The gradient
Yeah.
looks amazing.
It's like a small price to pay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for the most part, I'd say like the style, I do kind of like how it looks like with the segmented sprites and everything. And you know, I feel like it adds just so much to the visuals, honestly, because when they were doing like singular sprites for the characters that they'd switch between in Color Splash and Origami King, I feel like it was much more limited with what they could do in terms of animations and things. And it also like would take up a lot of storage in the game's files, probably, because so they would have to make it so where it's not like super high resolution, just so they could actually put a lot of those sprites in there. But now, since they're doing like the segmented like they're doing it like with segmented sprites now, I feel like they can make the characters much higher resolution now than they were in the like the modern games. So it just looks so much better this time, like even like graphically and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, looking I'll let you go ahead.
One thing that definitely like was a downgrade in the Color Splash and Origami King style that they just couldn't do with that because of the nature of the sprites is whenever a character was dizzy or when like Mario was fainting, they had to still use choppy frames for it. Whereas even in Sticker Star, because it still used layers, some animations that just naturally would look better when animated smoothly, they still had them. Like when Mario faints or when he's dizzy or when enemies are dizzy, it just looks so much better that way.
Yeah, or even that one specific sprite in Sticker, or that one animation in Sticker Star where Mario is like peeling a sticker. That's also kind of more.
Oh yeah. And then compare that to how he peels things in Color Splash. It's not nearly as smooth.
Yeah.
And another thing that I noticed about, like, the whole art style with the characters, at some points, it just, like, the characters actually kind of look like they're, artwork for the original game. Like, that's how high quality a lot of these, like, characters look in this game. Like, especially...
It looks like... Sorry.
Yeah, like, I was saying, especially, like, when you're looking at the scene in battle, like, where, like, Mario is jumping, that almost looks exactly like the, artwork for Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks just as high quality and even more just because you have like the extra gradients and the layering, but also just all the lighting and extra graphical stuff going on.
I can't wait to see the actual promo art for this remake. Like,
And we're gonna get icons for NSO.
oh, please.
Oh,
please.
I'm I'm immediately setting mine to Vivian whenever they add those on there.
Me too.
Yeah, either her or Paper Mario for me. Because
Yeah, like, I
64
thought
got
about
him with
that.
NSO.
My profile picture on there, except for like the times when like Pikmin and Tears of the Kingdom released, it's mostly been Goombario the whole time ever since it was like added back in 2022 with those icons.
I think I have mine as Paper Peach right now.
But yeah, it's
Luigi.
exciting that they'll do like all like since this is being treated like a full release and not just like something that they shadow drop during a direct, they're actually now gonna do all of the things that the little things that Nintendo normally does when they release games and everything, like all the little promotional things. Like I'm sure it will get some like merchandise, either in terms of like pre-order bonuses or like My Nintendo things, because like on My Nintendo they're usually adding like those little rewards whenever a game releases.
Imagine an actual little flat figurine that has the depth to look like those sprites. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that would be
That'd
really
so
cool.
I wish. I'm not getting my
Yeah,
hopes
like
up
we're gonna
though.
get trailers and stuff for it too. Like yeah, probably the next direct we're gonna see probably the release date and another great trailer. Because I think the way they did it with this recent trailer was just so good. They showed off a lot of the game.
I do think we probably have at least one more chance of seeing a direct. I think early next year, and even then, I think there's a good chance it's probably going to be a mini too. Because if everything lines up, then like we were probably going to see that next system around the second half of next year.
Because I guess what else would they really put in there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be Luigi's Mansion and it'd be the Princess Peach game, and then Thousand Year Door. Because Mario vs. Donkey Kong and another code, they won't have to show those off again.
Yeah.
But they could also like shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 and 3. I could see that happening, and maybe a teaser for 4. That's what I'm gonna say for the next one.
With Mario vs. Donkey Kong, it would be cool if they if they featured it in one more announcement, just to reveal that the level editor is back. I need that in my life.
Yeah, I guess when would that would release? See, I wonder what date it is.
I know it's in
it's
February.
Yeah.
Okay, so the direct would probably happen just before, I'm guessing. So yeah, they might show off some things, but its release would be pretty imminent. So
Yeah, and with the release window for the Thousand Year Door remake, I have a feeling that it's probably gonna release around like April or May, because like from what we've seen of the game already, it almost looks like it's mostly finished now, and it actually looks more polished than.
I mean, to be fair, they haven't shown any of Chapter 5. So maybe just the areas they had finished is what they showed.
Yeah, I do have a feeling that they did avoid showing some areas because of like spoilers and things. I know it is a remake, but I think Nintendo, well, they even acknowledged that a lot of people haven't played this game yet, so I think they purposefully showed off like mostly the earlier areas of the game with a few exceptions. So I don't really think they're like spoiling like much of the later parts of the game. Even though like, I mean, Chapter 5 wouldn't have been like too bad to show in this, but But just from like the amount of footage we've seen, like when comparing it to like Pikmin 4, which barely got anything in the last September Direct, ended up being released less than a year later. So it just seems like it's not too far off from now from when we're gonna get this remake. I'm just thinking
At the very least, please, the next time we get any information about this, give a release date.
I agree. And to be fair, though, we thought the same for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, because it's like, they announced that last Direct, and it's like, it's a port of Dark Moon. It's an up-res port of Dark Moon. But they're releasing that an entire year after the fact. So
It must have been like started very, very late, I'm guessing, because even the game last time looked pretty rough. So it might have just been started pretty early.
Yeah,
And where they showed it off, right? So
I think
that's kind of a running trend with Luigi's Mansion, low-key. That happened with 3.
Like, 3 looked not very good when they showed it off for the first time.
And then
the lighting was weird and it didn't look that great, but then it ended up looking amazing afterwards.
And then
And
also
they released it in Halloween. They released it at Halloween time, and that was the perfect time to release that.
Yeah, exactly on the day. I think it was a Thursday, I believe.
yeah, then another thing, the same developer with Next Level Games, also Battle League had that same thing where it like looked disregarding the other issues in that game, like when it was revealed, it looked more rough, kind of like, well, how the 2 remake is, as well as like Luigi's Mansion 3. It looked kind of rough at first, and then it looked much better by the time it released. So I think that's kind of a thing with like Next Level Games and everything. And with this, with Luigi's Mansion 2, I have a feeling that it's probably gonna be, it was probably started like right after Battle League stopped getting updates and everything, since I have a feeling that, Next Level Games is working on this and everything, so yeah, I don't think it's been in development for too long, considering the fact that it's kind of more of like a visual enhancement.
Yeah. I kind of have a question. So, do you guys think that if we had not lost Alpha Dream, if we had not lost the Mario and Luigi series, we would still be getting the TTYD remake? Or did Mario
Potentially.
and Luigi have to die?
I think so. I just... Even like Mario and Luigi had some issues towards the end, so they started remaking everything. So I'm not even sure. Would they have even made...
But that was their excuse a while back. Oh, you have Mario and Luigi. Play that for the Mario RPG.
That is kind of the main thing, because they treated Paper Mario as experimental because Mario and Luigi was there, and now it's not.
Yeah, and it's weird because like you can tell like Paper Jam was the last original, right? So then they started making all of these remakes because maybe they just couldn't do much anymore. Maybe they had also the same sort of limitations that the Paper Mario team also did have.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know about the exact same, but like we know they were losing money though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird that they
And Paper
decided
Jam
to do all those
still
remakes.
leaves a sour taste in my mouth, just from how it uses like nothing from the Paper Mario series other than Sticker Star.
Yeah.
Out of the Mario and Luigi series, it only uses Starlo. And she has no real reason she's there. She's just there because, yes.
Kind of the same with
Team,
Dream
at least there
Team.
was a reason. Well, she was on vacation. She ran into them. In Paper Jam, they don't even have that.
Yeah, and another reason why I think like this still could be happening, like despite like with Alpha Dream and everything with the Mario and Luigi series, is because we're also getting a Super Mario RPG remake. These are like happening around the same time, which shows that Nintendo is like okay with having multiple Mario RPG series at a time.
When they revealed Super Mario RPG, I mentally kind of just wrote all the rumors of a TTYD remake off as false.
Yeah, because there was a major rumor, and I thought that was what they were talking about. Because I was like, that's kind of feels too weirdly timed. Because also that rumor said this year or something. And I remember thinking that, you know, it could happen, but then they didn't show it off. So I was like, okay, maybe it was just the Super Mario RPG because, well,
I wonder
that's
if
a big
Nintendo
deal.
timed it that way on purpose to get the maximum surprise.
I feel like it was largely coincidence, because like with RPG, they could have just waited with Thousand Year Door. Granted, they kind of are, because assuming it comes out late spring, we have like 6 to 7 months after RPG comes out. But like these games were basically announced back to back. They had all the reason to just wait out announcing this game. They could have even saved it for the next console or whatever. Well, yeah, no, it just felt weird. We're getting like 2 different Mario RPG remakes, especially at the same time. Both of which some of the most beloved Mario RPGs in the entire subgenre for Mario.
And hey, even if they hadn't announced TTYD in the direct, I probably still would have looked back on that direct in a slightly fondly way, because Mario vs. Donkey Kong is another game I grew up with, and I got excited about that, and then I thought, okay, that's the thing, that's the clip I'm gonna post on YouTube. But by the end of the direct, I forgot that was even announced.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, when that was announced, I was focusing on it for a while, talking about it for a while when some of the filler announcements were coming in. I was like, oh, wow, this is, like, the best possible scenario for Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It's exactly what I wanted out of that Pioro rumor and everything. And then, once the Thousand Year Door remake was announced, that's, like, the only thing I could talk about after that.
Yep.
Okay,
It didn't get leaked either.
Yeah, I know. God bless Pure. If he knew, God bless him. Because, oh my God, if he spoiled that, this would have been like so much less impactful. If he knew, God bless him.
I think he did know, because he said, what will close the direct?
Yeah. Because, I think he purposefully didn't want to reveal it just because of how significant it is. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows the significance of it.
Usually when people were guessing something that had some truth to it, he would like that post. But I don't think he was doing that with anything regarding TTYD. So,
dude, I'm never fond of leakers or rumors. They all do the same stuff, and it all spoils. Pioro, though, oh, that's the GOAT. That's my homie. That's my G. He actually cared.
Yeah. And I was thinking of, like, since we've been, like, it just kind of reminded me, like, on the topic of, like, leakers and, like, rumors, and even with fake leaks and things, it kind of had me thinking about, like, how long we've been wanting, like, a remake or re-release of Thousand Year Door, because way back, like, almost a decade ago now, there was the, Thousand Year Door 3DS thing. Didn't you make that?
Oh,
yes, I did make that.
Oh, that was you?
Yes.
Tugged at my heartstrings.
To be fair, I did not expect anyone to actually like. I thought it would be like a very clearly fake. When Game Explain made a video about it, that was when I was like, oh my goodness.
I think that's like.
Happening.
I think I remember seeing that, even though I was a little younger then, but I think that's the first time I've like heard about you then. Like I remember like seeing you like around 2020 and then remembering you from like seeing you like kind of linked with that like
it caused the record number of people online on Mario boards, the record to be broken. Because I initially confessed that it was fake on that forum, and Game Explain instantly put an update with a link. And so the site was flooded with traffic, and it broke the record of people online.
But yeah, it just, like, I feel like that kind of goes to show, like, how much we've been wanting, like, a re-release of this game. And then, like, another thing, which I'm not sure if it has contributed to this or not, just due to how popular it was, but also, like, Arlo's, remaster Thousand Year Door thing on change.org, as well as the hashtag.
Yes.
The fact that like low-key actually came to pass, but even then it was also just a lot of us just not shutting up for almost a whole decade.
I got an email from one of those petitions. I don't know if it was Arlo's, because I know I signed a bunch of people that made petitions for that, but I got an email where someone updated the petition and said victory. and that was just, oh my goodness, that was amazing. Even if it didn't directly have any play, it didn't play into it at all, probably, but still, like, it was surreal seeing that. Like, I never thought we would see the day when those petitions would be able to say we did it.
Yeah.
I am a little bit jealous, but it just warms my heart. We're gonna get like millions of younger, newer Nintendo fans that are gonna play Thousand Year Door for the very first time.
Oh yeah.
Very
It'd
easily
be
accessible
fantastic.
version.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't gotta pay $300 on eBay for a cheap copy of TTYD. You don't gotta get a GameCube. This is on Nintendo's most popular console ever. $60. The most easily accessible, most beautiful version of Thousand Year Door. And we're just gonna get millions of more fans jumping on board Thousand Year Door and Paper Mario as a whole.
And
That
you-
just warms my
Yeah.
heart.
And
I
you,
definitely am going to try to like buy this game as many times as I can and just like gift codes to people.
That's
Like,
exactly what I did with Bug Fables. I'm totally doing it with this.
yeah,
I'm just gonna
I'm
be
probably
like-
gonna do a giveaway on the channel with that.
Anyone that I know, I'm just gonna be like, you have to buy this game.
Dude, no, that's so factual.
It's gonna go on my top 10 must-have Switch games, probably next year.
Hopefully next system's backwards compatible, because then the sales will just keep going slower, but like at least people will still buy it.
Yeah,
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and you know,
I swear to God.
another thing kind of related to the fact that so many people have been wanting a Thousand Year Door re-release, I feel like Nintendo actually kind of heard that. Like, there's no way that they didn't. Like, why was Thousand Year Door the one they chose? The one game that they chose. They could have chosen 64, which seemed to be the more likely one. They could have even just ported Color Splash, because they tend to do Wii U ports. They could have even done like a Sticker Star 3DS remaster like they're doing with Luigi's Mansion 2 as well as Miitopia. It's just like Thousand Year Door is the one that they choose. And it just kind of goes to show that they actually seem to be listening.
It always feels like Nintendo doesn't like to listen half the time. So
Yeah.
it's really surprising. Like once in a blue moon, they'll care. They'll throw you a bone.
Yeah, like the cars in Coconut Mall.
I think that
Yeah,
maybe
like
the,
actually that is true.
the reason it might have been, it was probably, if they were going to go back to the classic style, the first game they did was either going to be 64 or TTYD. I think it was TTYD because 64 was already on NSO.
Yeah.
TTYD
Yeah.
is like a
Yeah.
game that, like you can access 64, but to access TTYD you need to shell out several times more than it was originally listed at.
Mario
So-
RPG isn't on NSO either.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And that
now
cartridge
I know
also is
why.
quite expensive.
Everyone was wondering why. Now we know why.
Yeah, it seems to be some kind of like unwritten rule with NSO with like games that like are getting remakes aren't on NSO. Like it also applies to Mario vs. Donkey Kong as well, since that wasn't
yeah.
announced. Yeah.
No, I literally said in one of your question blocks, I was like, I mentioned Mario vs. Donkey Kong as a game I wanted to come to NSO. Now, no, this is better. This is better.
Yeah. But one more thing that I wanted to say before we end the video here is I feel like this could actually I know it's kind of like the Paper Mario fan base is kind of beyond repair at this point, but I have a feeling that the fan base might actually be a little more tolerable now that this remake is
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
More people will be able to play it, which is good, and I think the game is absolutely a great game that people should play. So hopefully it does well, and it will get like a larger audience talking about it, because I
needs
think
to
the
do
big
well.
problem is a lot of people look at the game looking in are like, oh, I want to play it, or I've never gotten the chance to play it, but now people will, because it was funny. I watched a lot of reactions, and as soon as the book showed up, some people were like, Mario Party, like what is this?
Oh my god! Yeah, some of those were like, really, you don't recognize, you don't know that book on site.
Yeah, and the song, like I know that anywhere. Like that's the first thing you see. And even for people who like have played the games, I was like, wait, how do you not know the first thing that you see in the game as soon as you boot it up? Except for the warning screen and everything. But yeah, it was really strange. But hopefully people will know after when the game comes out what that actually is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, there was like a time that I remember like a little after Origami King released, there were a lot of people like like hating Thousand Year Door out of spite because of the fan base. It was just really annoying, and it just kind of made things worse in the fan base because a lot of people like haven't even played Thousand Year Door and were just kind of like hating on it just
Yeah.
because of like almost similar to Super Mario Odyssey with the whole situation surrounding that game with like how people are like talking about it on Twitter and everything. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but like I guess you even when Mario RPG, not Mario, when Origami King released, I thought it was good, you know, and but I think it was also me trying to cope that this was it was like a really good game. So, but
Yeah.
no, honestly, now a few years later, like it was still a fun game, but I probably wouldn't play it again. Meanwhile, I would play Thousand Year Door again.
It's a good
Oh.
game, but not so much a good Paper Mario game.
Yeah.
I kind of see it.
I think there is a decent chance we're going to see a similar situation with Origami King like we did 3D World, because like 3D World is a popular game. It was received well originally, but like there was a palpable amount of people who were like, this isn't the 3D Mario I wanted. It's not as good. It's like the sequel to the bit-sized 3D Mario on 3DS. But then like we got Odyssey on Switch, and then they put 3D World on Switch, and now everyone's just like, oh, this game's fantastic. Like a lot
Yeah,
more people
kind of
came around to it.
like Xenoblade Chronicles. Like the first game's really good, and the second game, for a lot of people, including myself, I found that they kind of missed with some elements. But then they did the definitive edition, and it really fixed sort of the direction of the series again, sort of like what Thousand Year Door is doing. And then they made the third one, which really brought it in a brand new direction. So I'm hoping for something like that, where they take it in like a new direction afterwards.
I just hope that after this remake, all the character restrictions are gone. We can have toads like those in TTYD again. We can have the Merlin clan. We can have Wacko. We can have Koopa Trolls.
Yeah,
Plebs.
like-
we can have all of that stuff again.
Like, why can't, Paper Mario have its own characters that are established and own guidelines? Like,
And
I don't
it's-
understand why
and
they
its
can't
own
do that.
and its own distinct identity as well in terms of character designs. But yeah, since like this remake is happening and everything, and they've just gone through the effort of recreating the whole like older Paper Mario style in HD, I feel like they won't really put this style to waste. I think they might
I
actually.
really hope they don't.
Yeah, they should just reuse a lot of it. I mean, they reused a lot of like color splashes stuff. Like, I mean, not all of it, but they reused a lot of the style from that game, and they kind of put it over into Origami King, even though there are some differences in the art style. But I'm hoping that they're able to salvage a lot of stuff and kind of rework even the battle system and all that stuff for a new game. So I'm hoping that's the feature of the franchise.
Yeah, with the fact that they're incorporating like some of the poses from the modern games and kind of like putting so much more expression into like the animations in Thousand Year Door.
Extra frames.
Yeah,
more
it-
frames.
It just seems like they're gonna go with this style from now on. Hopefully, it just with how much dedication they're putting into this, it seems like this isn't something they'll do like just once, because Paper Mario has a history of reusing things or kind of reusing the style from the past games. Look at Thousand Year Door itself, reusing a lot of the design elements from 64. Super Paper Mario using the same animation style as Thousand Year Door. And then whole Sticker Star, that's the whole thing in itself. But then
I cannot wait for the interviews about this. I want to see how.
Oh,
hard
that,
Tanabe
yeah.
backpedals.
You
Yeah.
know,
See
every
how hard
si-
Tanabe
you know-
backpedals.
You know, if we get like 5 interviews, I'm doing one video on every single
Yeah.
one. We about to milk the hell out of this entire remake, dude.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. Like, they're gonna do interviews with this probably too. And they'd be like, "Why did you choose this game?" And he's gonna be like, "Oh, it wasn't me. It was other people."
Complete 180 if that happens from all the Origami King color splash stuff. Dude, we're like 80% of this whole full circle. The next new Paper Mario we see, if it's like the same type of character style, expression, variety like this, and the gameplay is good, that's when we're gonna come like all full circle. I think we're like 80,
Yeah.
90%
yeah,
I hope
Like, hopefully-
everything. I
there.
hope
90%
everything
is if
will
it
come back.
sells. 90% if it sells.
Like the toads too. Like I hope they can still have hair like the ones in TTYD.
yeah.
And it's like, I feel like it's either don't make a new Paper Mario game, or make one in the style of or make it an RPG. Like really, that's what they should do. Because I find it weird if they were to go, oh, Paper Mario and like clay and stuff, or cardboard catastrophe or crisis or whatever.
Super Paper Mario remake with a giant eraser.
Yeah, like I think it's either I'd expect them to do more remakes of Paper Mario or make a new one in that style, because they know that if they made another game with a paper theme or another craft or theme, I think it would just they know what would happen with the
It would clash so hard with what they just did with this remake.
Yeah, people would play the game and they'd be like, oh, this is not what the same thing. Like, why is it different, right? And they don't want to do that, because then you're essentially having like different genres in the same like franchise, which Nintendo doesn't usually like to do.
I really hope this game is the catalyst to bring Toadsworth back into new Mario games.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude, no, I was gonna say the same thing.
And
Yeah.
one more thing that I wanted to add was that I just imagine how just imagine if they do an interview with Tanabe and he just like straight up says that, oh, they were like with Origami King, they still had like a Nintendo still like designated us with like the design supervisor team, and then like that just went away by the time Origami King released, and we're just like completely free to do what we wanted to do before.
I wouldn't necessarily. I think that's believable actually, because Origami King started development like after Color Splash came out. It was still the Wii U era.
Yeah.
Wii U era, but like.
No, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like that's why Dream Team has a lot of unique stuff in the era where they never have unique stuff, because it started development right after Bowser's Inside Story.
Yeah, I think I brought up that point
Probably.
before. Like, Origami King is basically the reverse Dream Team. Because, like, Dream Team, yeah, like you said, it released in the area where there were, like, more restrictions in the franchise. But then Origami King released with more restrictions, where the franchise was more capable of doing more creative things, like with Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion 3, different things like that around that time. It seemed like, Origami King was like the only game being held back then. So it really seems like a reverse situation there. So yeah, I really hope that they'll like continue to use this style. And the fact that they're going through the effort of remaking this game specifically, I think that's a good
like
sign.
I think Super would have kind of blended with the sort of restrictions that they have, because in Super Paper Mario, you've got a lot of original characters that don't as much touch on the universe, but then you do have like, but you know, like the gameplay and how it's different, right?
There's still plenty of like characters that can't appear in modern Paper Mario. Like they have
Yeah,
Super
like the
Trolls, they
clouds,
have
I think, are there too, right? There's like
they
those
have-
clouds in Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door.
They have the Koopa Strikers, with the wacky eyebrows.
Yeah, like it still
like-
breaks a lot of like the modern conventions, but I think that would have been a lot more likely to
At least
see,
gameplay-wise.
Gameplay-wise,
hope-
yeah.
I still hope we get that game coming back in the future. I hope we get a remake of that at some point, because that's actually my favorite. Like TTYD is more how I think Paper Mario should be going forward. But I just love Super Paper Mario to death, and I want it to come back.
I know this
Yeah,
is
This remake.
same.
I know this is extreme.
Sorry.
I know this is extremely unlikely, but imagine like a full reimagining of Super Paper Mario that has like the 1,000-Year Door gameplay style.
Oh,
Oh my god. Best game of all time, full stop, no competition. Like, oh my
Add a
god.
new battle system in there. I think that could work.
you know full well after this, people are gonna be like hard asking for a remake for either Super or 64 now too.
I think like the things with 64 is its mechanics are there's like less stuff going on with the battle system, so it sort of feel like a step backwards. Whereas 1,000-Year Door is a lot more complicated with more like you got your stylish moves and all that
If
stuff,
they
right?
do eventually remake 64 and Super, then they can just package them together and release Paper Mario All-Stars.
Yeah,
I wish.
but yeah, I think that's most of what we wanted to talk about here. But yeah, still extreme. Even almost a week later, it still feels like very surreal that this is actually happening. It
Any
still
second
feels
now
like
I'm
a
gonna wake
dream. Yeah.
Any second now I'm gonna wake up.
You know, honestly,
Yeah,
I think I remember having, like, in the past couple of years, I think I've actually had dreams about something similar to this before. I think I've actually had dreams where I was watching a
too.
direct.
No, I literally
too.
have like at least five. At
But
least five.
there's usually always something weird about it. Like I think I remember one where it was Super Paper Mario Remake, but it was like in the Color Splash style, and it was like I was having very mixed feelings about it, but I didn't care because Count Blank.
Or they
Hey,
released a Super Paper Mario coloring book. Yeah, guys, we're gonna introduce the new coloring book. That you guys are gonna enjoy it. You know, it has some of the classic characters. You know.
Yeah, and one time I was so starved of Paper Mario content. I remember having a dream where I was in a Walmart and I saw a World of Nintendo Dimentio figure.
Oh my god! Why? Why Nintendo? Why can't you make figures of those characters? Do it. Do it.
But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, this is really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to this remake. Definitely is going to be probably my favorite Switch game, and is probably going to be my, well, Thousand Year Door is already tied with Odyssey and Tears of the Kingdom as my favorite game of all time, but I think it's definitely going to solidly be my favorite game of all time with this remake. But yeah.
We're just gonna get this. The free demo of Paper Mario, but just like it's paper.
What? That little recreation was made for the new Paper Mario texture pack from years ago, and I don't think that ever got finished. I don't think that.
Yeah,
ever
I
got
remember
finished.
following along with it. I'm not sure if it's still going.
I
but
don't think so. I think they just kind of, the creator just kind of abandoned it. I'm pretty sure. Like.
Yeah. But I do know
feel like
that.
would have been the best, one of the best HD texture packs for Paper Mario 64 if it had been finished.
Yeah, imagine someone working on a one for the Thousand Year Door right now. It's gonna be like,
But yeah,
Mhm.
so yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also subscribe to Fawful the Great, Anton Retro, and SuperMarioT. So yeah, so make sure to check out my Twitter and Discord server as well, and goodbye.
Bye-bye!
see ya.